Okay, so hello. These questions were taken off of Florida Teacher Certification Exam, and they're practice for people who aren't taking a teacher certification exam also. So anyway, this is the exam from which it actually came from. These are some of the easier questions. I start out easy first. So you have a right triangle has the smallest angle that measures x and another angle that measures 9x. What is the measure of the smallest angle? Now, first thing you have to think about is how you're going to get all these angles together, and the only way you can measure it, the angles, is to think about how 9x is related to this. And immediately it should trigger in you a common Pythagorean triplet. And I put this in blue because this is the one we're going to use. And when you look at this, as we do on the next slide, you set them up. 9x, 12x, plus 15x equals 180, because 180 is a measure of all of these angles. Okay, all these angles have to total 180. And that's 180 degrees. That's why I put this circle here. But just know it's 180, okay? So when you add your common terms, 9x plus 12x plus 15x, you get 36x. So 36x equals 180, and you already know you can now divide this out. And when you get ready to divide it out, you have 36x over 180. So now ask yourself, do you have the Pythagorean theorem? And when you divide that into this. So now if you were to go ahead and to solve this, I just put this as a fraction. You could even put your fraction here just so you know what you're going to do. You're going to take the negative inverse, which was done over here for you, 1 over 36. You're going to do that on both sides, and this was already done for you, but just to show you how it is. And then what you do is you multiply straight across, and 180 times 1 is 180, 180, and 1 times 36 is 36. So now you divide 180 by 36, you get 5. That's been done over here for you. Now listen, you are not finished. You have to take back to your originals and multiply this out. 5 times 9 is 45. 5 times 12 is 60, and 5 times 15 is 75. So those are your Pythagorean triplets, 9, 12, and 15. Okay, and all we did was we just put the x value here for each one of them and multiplied it out. That's your x value times each one of the originals. Now what we have to do is see if that adds up. So 45 plus 60 is going to give me 105. And then is 105 plus 75 going to give me 180? Sorry, that's a 7. Yes, it does. So now you're done. So they asked you what is the smallest degree, and on the exam you would put 45 as your smallest. They might just ask you what's the measure of the smallest angle, and x equals 5, so your smallest angle has to be 45. And I just put it here hypothetically. Usually your smallest angle is across from the hypotenuse, but I went ahead and just put it there just to look like, just to show you that what you're really solving for is this, and if you miss the visual of this, it kind of doesn't matter, just as long as you understand the concept of what's happening. Okay, So now you're done. This was the next one. Identify the y-intercept of the linear function. Okay, and always remember to think the y-intercept is when x equals 0. So you immediately know you're going to put that in. You do the slope-intercept of the line. Look at this graph over here. It's been done for you. Okay? Your y2 would be your second value. So it would be y2, and this is y1. You could also do this is y1, and then this would be y2, but I choose not to do that. That would get a negative 11 minus minus 2, give you negative 13 over 2 minus 1, 2 minus 1. You'd come out with this weird number. So I just take the original y1, the original y2, and then you're going to get a slope of 3 over 1. If you remember from Algebra 1, this means since this is positive and this is positive 2, so this means you're going to go on a line up 3 and to the positive side, so up 3 and over 1. That's what your slope means. Okay? And you're going, just remember, as long as it's positive, you're going to the positive side. So if you had a numbers line, you know your negatives are here, and your negatives are here, and your positives are up. So this would be like positive 2, and then your x values, this would be positive 2. So that's all you have to do if you're visualizing this. Okay, so that's your slope. That's right here. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this. Okay. So it's 3 over 1 or 3, however you want to do it, say it or do it, as long as you understand that it is positive 3 and that 1 still exists and you have to take it over. Okay, so now you want to use the slope. And remember we went over the slope was positive 3? So now you can put the m value over here. And remember this was y equals mx, sorry about that, plus b. Wow. Bad writing 101. Okay, let me put this here. So this is your 3. Your x was 0. So what was your y? Okay, was your y negative 2? Was your y negative 11? Was it negative 14? Was it negative 2? I'd start with one of these numbers. Okay, so that we're going to move over here to the next part of the equation, and I set it at negative 2. It really doesn't matter if you use positive 1 or negative 2, because if you use positive 1 and you get ready to add this and you take this over, it's still going to be negative 3, and positive 1 is still going to be negative 2. So let's just show that. You can really use any value. So let's do that. mx plus b. Okay, so we had our slope of 3. And times x. Let's make y, we put it negative 2 here. Let's make y 1, which means that x is right here. It's going to be 2. So now they're both positive. 3 is over here. Y is 1. X is 2. So that's 6. 3 times 2 is 6 equals 1 plus b. But we're solving for b right now. Slope minus 6 equals, and I'm going to go ahead and write this out, plus 6 plus b. You're taking the negative inverse of this positive, so that's 1 minus 6. So you'd still end up with negative 5 equal to b. So no matter which value you choose for x or y, it still should come out to b being negative 5 as it did over here when you made it these values negative, did we make it over here? Negative 2 and I'm sorry, we made it over here. I wonder why I'm losing. That's the next value. Okay, we made it over here that was -2, and that's where we put this y. And then we made it over here, it's 1. That's why it's that way. So you have 3 times 1. Good thing to double check is 3. And then this was done with for you here, -3 plus 3. And then you take the additive inverse, or just take the inverse. You don't have to remember the term right now. -3 plus, you were adding -2 plus -3 is a -5 equals b. So I did the same thing here when over here when y equals -14, x is -3. Larger negative numbers, actually a smaller number on the numbers line, but larger negative numbers. And this is what I did here, -14, -14, you had 3 times -3 is -9. So -9 plus b, you have to solve for b, so you took +9 over here, this is shown, but this is -14. So it's a larger number for numbers' sake only. And then -14 plus 9 is -5 equals b. So you have -5 here, -5, -5. So here's your answer. It has to be when x is 0. What is it? Y. Okay, be -5. That would be b or your slope. These are the answers they're asking you for. Okay, this is just the last slide. Thanks for watching. Have a good afternoon.